Okay, hey, welcome to another episode of On the Rest from Off the Cuff. Today we have another update for you from StrapsCo. A little bit about them. They're pretty much a brand that has a massive collection of watch bands and accessories in their shop, like a wide array. And yeah, I guess you would expect that from a brand called StrapsCo. In terms of today's product highlight, you're going to be seeing fitted end straps that are made for the Seiko Turtle-Reissue. So it's compatible with all of those Seiko Turtle-Reissue models. There's so many different variations. They do have a running list on the site listing there on the page. So I'll leave that down in the description below. And there's all types of deals. I think currently there's a buy two get one free kind of mix and match any item site wide. At least that's currently a promotion at the time of filming this. And yeah, we're going to see about 3 different variations paired to my personal Turtle-Reissue here, which is the SRPE 093. So looking forward to, I think it's a 93, probably. It's been a while since I've looked at the nomenclature, but it's pretty sweet, and I think it's a really relevant watch. It's pretty much kind of taking the place of the Seiko SKX in terms of being that usable, highly legible, just iconically a dive watch, a Seiko dive watch at that. Everything you need, no frills type of watch. So it's one that you can wear and put wear marks on and not even worry about. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get these pieces in hand, and take a closer look. Okay, so you got the turtle case here, the head of the watch. And it's really a cult classic, in all the way into a bit of a mainstream classic these days. So really great watch, and I'm glad that they're making some fitted end straps for it, being forward thinking. These are 3 different variations. You can see they all have similar buckles. We'll peel each one open. So here we have the classic leather, and then the vintage leather option, and then the nylon we can do last. So in terms of the classic leather, probably the most versatile one here, and then of course some details about that. This is available in 5 different options. So you get in black, beige, brown, which is as seen here. This is the brown variation. Very nice. Oh, just dropped a spring bar. So you, whoa, 2 of them. So it does have a quick release spring bar, and they're actually quick to jump out if you're not paying attention. So let me find that. Hopefully I can find it relatively quickly while behind the camera here. Might have to just grab one from the what's it called? Oh wait, it's right there. It was just right in my blind spot. Ha! Some of you guys are probably screaming at the screen just then. But yeah, basically from where I'm sitting, it was being blocked by the tripod leg. So we'll go ahead and jump right into this. Let's just get this bad boy on and see how it wears. Well, first let's see how it fits, then we'll get into how it wears. This is all live action, guys, so nothing premeditated here. So if this isn't a great fit, you're gonna find out. A little tough. Okay. Gotta really push because the fitted end. Maybe I'll start with the easier side. Let's start with the easier side. Okay, top half. Put it down. Slide that. That is also, well, it's what I think what it's wanting me to do here is use a tool where I can, my normal tool here, and basically just kind of scooch it down because it is a very tight fit on the backing there of the leather. Boom. So now it fits. Okay. So tight squeeze, which is good because that means the fitment is going to be nice and solid in there. You can see not a lot of gaps. So we'll see how the other ones fare in terms of that. So I'm sure if you've had, you know, leather straps before, you understand totally. Getting everything lined up can sometimes be a bit of a challenge, especially with these fitted end models. Essentially, you're going to want it to kind of fit as if it's a you know, a bracelet end length there. So that is all in. There we go. Let me give it a quick wipe here. So you can see classic brown. Give a little dust off there while we're at it. Very nice. We'll move these kind of just out of, or just to the side. Why not? So the black and the brown go really well. Definitely very casual now. Still quite sporty, but I think definitely gives it more casual vibe. You can see nice and thick up here, so it's going to give it some nice shape, and then it tapers down, as well as tapering from the width portion, and you do get this nicely milled buckle there. So that's very keen. In terms of the total length, 200 millimeters. It has 120 millimeter length here for the long section. Then the shorter section with the buckle is going to be 80. It's going to taper from 5 millimeters down to 2 millimeters. It's made out of genuine leather, and then of course it does have the nice quick release spring bar system there. Although one thing now that is to note is that it doesn't mean it's completely super easy, because you're really going to have to compress that to butt it up against it very nicely. But you know, on the other side of it, it means that it's a really nice gap-free fit. So let's go ahead and try this on here. I have a 7.5 to 7.25 inch wrist, and you can see I do have just a little bit of slack there. Kind of 3 holes in, so there's a little bit more room if you have a bigger wrist, but you know, this looks like it'd be probably better. You'll have more holes left over. Basically, it looks like 1, 2, another 4 holes if you want to go any tighter. So if you have a smaller wrist, that works out really well. Check that out. Wow, really adds a lot of character. Let me just bring it in a little tighter here so you're not going to get a bunch of lens distortion making the watch seem huge. You can see it sits really nicely on the wrist, and that brown is just really classic. I mean, this, you're wearing brown boots, you know, earth tones, greens, tans, khakis. This is going to be a really, really handsome look. And then of course, that's with the black dial model, which is going to be, you know, extremely versatile, but you could totally put this on one of the patties, or, you know, any one of the other variations, which there are tons of variations with different types of dials and bezel combinations. So very cool. I gotta say, lays really nice, wears really nice, and that's with 0 break-in. Like, I didn't twist this up or anything, like it just conformed really well. You do have a nice amount of support here, which does add some structure, some structural rigidity, which is nice. And then it's nice and supple here on the underside, and everything tucks away really nicely. So I gotta say, we did start with this one. This one's pretty sweet. It goes for, actually I think all of these go for $59.99, and I think they're all pretty much have very similar dimensions. They're just different materials and different looks. This, of course, being the classic leather, right? And I think it's classic and quite timeless, and well named and well executed. So very cool. Not super cheap at $60 about, but also not super expensive, especially considering the fact that it does have a fitted end on there, and then actually really nice milled hardware as well. So very cool. So with that down, let's move on to the next one, which is the more vintage style. So this is known as the vintage leather, and it has minimal stitching. As you can see, instead of it being all the way lined, oh, these guys jumping out again. So you can see it's instead of having it all the way lined, you're just going to get this very nice vintage style with the kind of ivory stitch there, the black, you know, it's kind of a matted tone and texture. Very nice, a little dusty. Let me just give it a quick little blast there. And so let's go ahead and get these on and see how easy or not as easy they go on, even with the quick release spring bars. Let's start from the top here. We'll go ahead and get that punched in. And yeah, it's probably going to be similar unless I can just kind of push. Yeah, so again, you're probably going to be better served to, now I have to find my little tool that I had a second ago. There I was shooting from the hip. But that's why they call it on the wrist from off the cuff, guys, because this is off the cuff shenanigans at its best. So I don't know. Oh, here it is. Hey, wanted to grab this one because it's not branded. You know, I don't want to give anybody any free advertising. So just kidding. So we push that in, click this bar over, everything's lined up, pull nice and tight, give it a quick little wipe there. You can see the finish on this leather is a little bit, not quite like a nubuck, but it does have a kind of a more tumbled texture to it. So it's not just vintage in that the stitching has changed, even the leather itself has a vintage finish to it. So very matted and muted, which I think is really nice and you know, suits the aesthetic really well. And I think, of course, the ivory stitching, not super white, not super yellowed and patinaed, it goes really well with the Lumabrite there, you know, which is, you know, relatively white, but not overly you know, new and fresh looking, because it does have that little tint of green kind of that comes through mainly. Oh, look at that one. I didn't even have to push that one in with any special tool. So yeah, I think it goes really well with the just natural color palette of the loom on here, because it does have a bit of a tint, not super clean, but not also definitely not patinaed or, you know, forced aged or anything like that. A little bit of just dust on the dial just every time. Come on. So this is the vintage style, and I dig it. You can see it also has some nice kind of matching stitching down here on the lower. Again, the same buckle that we found before, same lengths, 80 and 120, 5 millimeters down to 2 millimeters, genuine leather and quick release spring bars. So let's get it on the wrist. Check this out here. Probably going to be similar in terms of the tightness. I'm guessing it'll be on the third hole. Yep. And you can see here. Boom. Ah, wow. I dig this. Look at that. I'm feeling this one, guys. What do you think? Before the video is even over, you guys can comment. I trust you. You don't have to wait till the end. So check that out. I really, really like this. I'm really surprised as well, because when I see this piece, that's just not really the aesthetic that I associate with it. When I do think of this as a vintage, you know, kind of within that vein, I do think of like a Tropic rubber strap, something like that. But this actually looks really cool. And I think the matte black on here, it really plays well, because the tones that are on here, you know, this aluminum bezel insert and the matte black dial do play with light in a very unique way. So it's going to basically give you a little bit of, it'll kind of match up every once in a while as the light reflects, and you can get, you know, really saturated look on the dial and the bezel. But this looks cool. Check that out. It fit really well, wraps around the wrist really well, and again, about 60 bucks. That is not bad at all. And this is going to take on, you know, a nice, again, that's one of the best things about the Turtle, is it's a sports watch that you can wear now and actually wear and put wear marks on, and it's not some, you know, collectible kooky thing where you're wanting to keep it in prime pristine condition. This is one that you can have and wear and take with you on your daily adventure, and really you know, wear it to the fullest extent and use it as a true tool watch. So I do like that, and that kind of ties in with this. with this vintage style, it's going to pick up wear as well. And it's going to, you can make this look like a watch from 20, 30 years ago, just by wearing it, very often. And then the nice thing is, this is going to look well, being well worn as well, versus, something like this where it's a little bit fresher. It'll still pick up patina and whatnot. But I think in terms of the aesthetic and the style, a little bit nicer, I'd say, on this style. And you can get it in different colorways as well. Actually, 7 different colors. So you see it here on the black. But it also comes in a light brown, dark brown, a fawn, a gray, a red, or a cinnamon color. So pretty wild. So that red, ooh, that probably look pretty sweet as well, and definitely give it some pop. But I think the black on black here looks really cool, and it definitely hits the vintage nail on the head. So we'll take this off now and move on to the last option. So, and really easy to take out, even though putting it on isn't always quite as easy as you might find when it's not a fitted end strap. So I will give them, a bit of a break from that standpoint, but I do have that little tool ready there. So what we'll do is we'll pop open the gray. All right, here's the gray, and we will put this together on this guy here. So we'll start at the top. Okay, pop this guy on the end out a little bit so that lines up. Take this, punch it in. Oh, looks like I'm gonna have to just scoot it over ever so slightly just to make sure that we get nice engagement with the hole. Okay, or maybe not. Maybe it's gonna give me trouble because it's the last one. Okay, try to scooch it over again. You guys can see I'm keeping it real here. I'm not gonna cut away and make it seem like this was super easy when it might not be. So I mean, it also obviously depends on your individual watch as well. So yours might go in a little easier than mine did. You can see now that's locked into place. Ooh, very nice. And I dig that gray. Definitely giving me some military vibes with this nylon layout. So also, of course, nylon being very tactical and very useful for an active watch. So, which I think this makes a really good watch for an active lifestyle, because it is tough enough, absolutely, to do all the cool stuff. There we go. Everything lined up. I'll just give it a quick wipe off camera. Recenter the bezel here. Everybody who loves bezel action. Cool. So the gray definitely gives it more of a tactical vibe. Very modern. You can see, again, similar tapering. Obviously, everything's 22 millimeters. It's going to be a little thicker here up top, tapering from 5 millimeters down to 2 millimeters. Nylon instead of the leathers that you saw earlier. And then this one has 4 options: black, army green, blue, or gray as seen. I love this gray tone. Very modern, and it almost gives it a bit of a premium look, which I also like, because this watch, I mean, and also depending on what variant you have, you might have one that looks very premium with, all the bells and whistles in terms of the bezel grip. That's a little bit more updated, as well as the ceramic bezel insert options that are available, or, really cool textured dials. But let's get this secured on the wrist here. Whoa, almost lost it. Almost lost it. Recovered. So you can see it does have a nice little form already to it. Here, this one, I think maybe the hole placement. No, I can still get it down to that third hole. Yeah, still very similar. Cool. So you can see here, guys, let me just take that tool, put it away. Check that out. Boom. I'm digging that. I think the colors pop really nicely. That gray with the black, it's a really nice little offset against each other. They contrast well, but at the same time it flows pretty well. And then with the texture that's on the strap, it's going to play with light in different ways as well. I mean, it's never going to look black, but the grays definitely have some depth. You can see highlighted versus a little bit darker. So you are going to get some nice texture and color play, and it looks like a little lint as well. But you can see really nice. I'm really surprised by these. Not super expensive, not super cheap either. But then there are also these deals. You buy two, get one free. So not bad at all, because, you know, typically you find stuff that's built, you know, to this spec in terms of fitted ends and, you know, having all these different options, really nice milled hardware. That might be, you know, the cost for one. You know, you might be paying, you know, instead of paying $60, maybe you're paying $120 for one strap. So here you could technically get three, at least if, you know, you pull the trigger in time to get that 2-for-1. So maybe you're going to get the Gambit and have, you know, the three different types, or maybe you'll just get some different colors of the same type, you know, completely up to you. But technically you could spend $120 and just get all three, or you can get three different options. They do have the quick release, which does make it very quick for releasing, you know, the strap from the watch case. It does pull off very easy. It's really just, you know, getting everything butted up and aligned to push back onto the case, which can be a little bit more complex. But yeah, I dig these. These turned out really, really nice, and I dig the different options here. So that did go on for quite some time, and it's definitely because I was doing that all off the cuff, and we had to bring the tool in and all that. So with that said, let's go ahead and close this bad boy out. So closing thoughts, all very solid and affordable, with a nice range of style and color options that suit really any tastes.